Hi everyone. So in this assignment, we are going to be reviewing some of the material that we covered earlier in the course. So with the completion of assignment 12, we have now finished really the term section of the course, right? Your first 70% of the course, and we're now moving into final assessments. So this is the part of the course where you might typically be preparing for an exam, but instead of exams, the final 30% will be focused entirely around projects that essentially evaluate the skills that you've learned throughout the year, including skills such as writing descriptive and narrative paragraphs. So we haven't done this for a while. You may have used some of these techniques when you wrote your folktale. I noticed there were a few of you that wrote really descriptively, so you still had a lot of those skills, and you were writing narrative writing, but we're now going to look specifically at putting narrative and descriptive paragraphs together, which again is a skill we haven't practiced for a while. So in this assignment, you're going to review how to do this. Okay, so what I have here then is I've given you the outlines. So these are the same outlines that we used before. I just put them in this document to help you write descriptive paragraph and to help you write a narrative paragraph. So they're the same outlines as before. Okay, and there's a marking scheme here as well that's similar to the one before, although it's a little bit more simplified because we're not going to go through the whole rough copy and peer editing process. This is more just a refresher for you, so it's going to be simpler than a normal assignment that you would have. So you will be marked according to this marking scheme, but again, your last major assignment was assignment number 12. So this is more just for you to practice and receive some feedback before we enter our final 30% more than anything else. So this is where you will see some of your feedback. Okay, so again, we have the same outlines that we've used previously, and you're going to do the same thing that we did previously. So complete the outline for your descriptive paragraph, complete the outline for your narrative paragraph, and then use those outlines to create fully structured paragraphs. Okay, so same idea, topic sentence, concluding sentence, but remember for these types of paragraphs, your concluding sentence might not be as formal as when you're writing, say, an expository or opinion paragraph, right? The goal here is not necessarily to remind readers of all the wonderful things that you told them about how to do something or about why you are right about something. The goal here is to describe something or tell a story. So your concluding sentence isn't going to necessarily say something like, therefore, blah, 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 or in conclusion, right? Your concluding sentence might be something simple like, it was the best day of my life, or if you're describing a place, something like, this would be a wonderful place to have a party. But you can see here, I don't really use the transition words, and there's nothing formal about it because that kind of formal approach doesn't really suit this style of writing. And that's part of the reason why we're practicing it. With essays, you're writing very formally, so we haven't written like this much for a while. Okay, so what I've also given you is a suggested topic. If you're not sure what to write about in your descriptive paragraph or your narrative paragraph, use my suggested topic to help you get started. So my suggested topic for your descriptive paragraph is describe your workspace, right? And a workspace is a place where you do your work. So maybe you're sitting at your desk, maybe you're sitting on a bed, maybe you're on a couch. I have no idea what your workspace looks like, so this is what you can describe. Or if you don't want to describe where you actually work, describe your ideal workspace. If you could work anywhere in the world and have any kind of equipment that you want in front of you, describe that space. What would that look like? So this is a suggested topic. If you can think of a different topic you want to write about for your descriptive paragraph, feel free. You don't have to use my suggestion, but this is just to help you get started if you can't think of anything. Okay, same thing for the narrative paragraph. I've also given you a suggested topic. So this is sort of to go with the popular kind of thing going around the internet of my last normal day in photos. So this one will be my last normal day as a narrative paragraph. So what did you do during the last day that felt normal to you before all the closures and restrictions caused by the pandemic? Right, so obviously we can't do as many of the fun things that we used to do in our lives. So what felt like the last kind of really fun day for you? Maybe it was a day when you went out and saw some friends or some family. Maybe you went outside and you did some kind of activities that are hard to do now. maybe you traveled somewhere, and this isn't necessarily, the last day before, say, school closed or something like that, because we always in our lives have days that don't seem particularly remarkable, right? We might just stay home and do schoolwork or play video games, and we might have done that before the pandemic. But what was the last day that you did something that you really enjoyed, or where you felt normal, that you can't do today? So tell the story of that day. So again, suggested topic, you don't need to do it. It's just if you are looking for a topic to write about. Okay, so just briefly to talk about descriptive paragraphs to help you out. You can check on Google Classroom for my notes and examples. So I'm going to first remind you where those things are, and then I'm going to talk to you a little bit about descriptive writing one more time. Okay, so we'll head over to Google Classroom. Okay, so here we are in classwork in Google Classroom, and if you go down to the very beginning of the course, again, you can see all these lessons that we did on writing different types of paragraphs. So descriptive paragraph is here. You can see the lesson on how to write a descriptive paragraph with my example in there for you. And we also have our old assignment there. You probably don't need this one, but you might consider going through this one and seeing my example if that can help you. Same thing for the narrative paragraph, which we have here. So the PowerPoint, it might help you, right? I have an example of a narrative paragraph that I wrote in there. This is probably not very helpful because it's pretty similar to what you already have on the Word document. All right, so we're going to go back to the Word document and then talk a little bit about how to write these types of paragraphs. Okay, so what we're going to do is for a descriptive paragraph, you will need a topic sentence, right? You need to introduce the reader to what it is that you're going to be talking about, but you might consider using a topic sentence that has a lot of adjectives or adverbs within it, or at least descriptive language, right? So words that describe things. So this is where it might be useful to brainstorm some words that you can use ahead of time. So if you're thinking about, say, your workspace, maybe what color is your computer, what is the size of it, what does the wall that's around you look like, or if you're working on your phone, what does your phone look like? So think about the color, size, shape, other attributes. Is it heavy? Is it noisy? Maybe the environment is noisy if you've got a lot of cars driving by outside, but this is where you're going to come up with words to describe your area. Okay, so the topic sentence, you're going to introduce the audience to the area that you are describing, and then here you're going to provide extra descriptions of it. Okay, and your concluding sentence, as we said, could be something like simple, like I love to work in this place, or this is a great place to do one's work, or it's difficult to do my work here. I find this area very distracting. So there are lots of ways that you can end it, but again, don't end it with a formal, therefore or in conclusion, right? This is something that you would hear in a story, and you usually won't hear therefore or in conclusion written this way in a story. Okay, so your narrative paragraph. So first, brainstorm what happened on that day. So list the different things that happened. Because if you just start writing without listing them, you might find that you forget something. And then you might, if you're just writing, mention, oh yeah, and before this thing happened. And then your paragraph kind of loses its structure and it's out of order. So for people that tell a story well, they have it sort of planned in advance, or at least they have an ability to structure their work so that the audience can follow along. Okay, so brainstorm the different events that happen. And then when you're writing your paragraph, put them in chronological order, right? Remember, chronological order means within the order that the events happen. So if you go in order of time, that's going to organize your paragraph and make it easier to understand. So here you can write about what's the main thing that's happening on that day, or maybe just say this was an amazing day, and then here you're going to list what happened, and then your concluding sentence, again, avoid therefore, avoid in conclusion. But you can say something like, I can't wait to have another day like this in the future, or something like that, right? You're just going to end it with a statement that describes, that kind of recalls what you did, but it's not like a formal conclusion. In conclusion, this was the greatest day of my life. You could just say this was the greatest day of my life. That would sound more natural if you're telling a story. All right, so that's about everything I've got to say. So Again, fill out both outlines for a descriptive paragraph and for a narrative paragraph. Complete both paragraphs and turn those in, and that's all that's required for this review. All right, thank you. Have a good day.